My wife, Kristen, is a registered dietitian nutritionist. I happen to be a licensed professional counselor. And we're here talking about, does good food really equal a good mood? Turns out there are actually a couple different types of nutrition tests to help us understand how our body responds to certain types of food. One is a sensitivity test, another is a genetic test. And we're going to talk about what the differences are and how you can really take steps to live the life you want to live.
And if things aren't working for you, it's worth exploring other options. And that's what we're here today to talk about.
A lot of people don't realize that we offer different types of nutrition testing. So, from your perspective, why do you think it's so important?
I know this is relatively new to our practice, and people are just getting kind of familiar with it. And it's a little bit of an alternative method in the nutrition world, a little bit on the holistic side. Um, a lot of times you'll find these personalized nutrition tests in functional medicine clinics or um, in alternative facilities. But we've found that we've had a lot of success for them with like people have a lot of success with them. And we found that it's worth offering because of that success. I don't know if a lot of people know, but we offer the MRT 176, like food sensitivity testing. It tests 176 foods and chemicals that are found in food or added to food synthetically. And then we also offer nutrition genetic testing from nutrigenomics.
Cool. So, what does all that mean? Like, why would someone sign up for it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that's probably what people a lot of times feel confused about. And I think my main answer to them is if things are working, we don't really need to explore that. But if things are not working for you, if you feel like you're doing everything that you should be doing or that you can be doing, it's worth exploring
Yeah.
some
So,
of
how
these.
would someone know that something's not working for them?
I think probably if they're dealing with any chronic symptoms
Okay.
that have been going on for a while, something acute probably wouldn't be worth exploring with some of this testing. But if it's been chronic, if it's been going on, even though they've worked on different methods to improve that symptom and haven't had any luck, like maybe something like consistent fatigue or brain
Mm,
fog or digestive symptoms that they can't seem to pinpoint or identify where they could be coming from, um, skin issues, um, anything that could be an immune response inside your body. Sometimes it's severe and frequent, or sometimes it's not as frequent, but it's chronic. It's been there for a while.
So, you're basically saying that there's things that happen like in our gut, in our stomach, and that affects what is happening in our brain.
Yeah. I mean, food, when we think about it, food directly impacts not just our gut health, it impacts our brain chemistry. We can
Hmm.
speak to that a little bit more, but also our inflammation levels throughout our body. And then also our like hormone regulation too.
Okay. So, back to fatigue. Let's say I was up all night with our baby, which is probably not true because you would have been up all night with
That's
our
right.
baby.
I
But
carry that load.
yeah, well, okay. So if I'm a good husband, hypothetically, and
Hey, you carry a lot of other weight.
thanks, babe.
Yeah.
So fatigue sets in for me after a long night. And that is logical, right? Makes sense. But let's say, as you're pointing out, I have chronic fatigue and there's not really a logic to it. It doesn't really make sense why I continuously feel tired. You're saying it might be worth considering the source of that is what I'm putting in my belly.
Hmm. Yeah. For example, I'll cut right to like a personal example. When I did some of the testing, because I have an autoimmune condition and testing has been very successful for me, which is why I feel passionate about helping other people with it. But when I did some testing, I had no idea that I was reactive to corn and that corn created such an immune response for me, a delayed immune response. It's not immediate. This is not an allergy test. We need to be very clear about that. It is, a reaction of our white blood cells. It's a delayed immune response in our body. So usually people don't feel it right away. They feel it the next day. Um,
Whereas like an allergy response would be pretty immediate.
Immediate.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there's a clear difference. It's not
Yeah.
allergies, but it is a reaction that's happening inside your body that could be leading to some acute
Mhm.
symptom. And by backing some of those things down, by settling down our immune system, we can really help with some of those chronic issues sometimes. But back to my personal example, like I didn't know that I was reactive to corn, and once I settled down some of my symptoms and my immune system a little bit, when I eat corn or popcorn now, I was eating it all the time, all the time. We would like watch a show and
Sorry
eat
about that.
popcorn and
Mm.
make homemade delicious popcorn, the whole thing. And when I eat it now, I the next day, not right away, but the next day, I mean, I feel horrible. I feel like I have the flu. It's such a terrible reaction for me. And imagine walking around like that all the time
Mm.
in not knowing and carrying this level of fatigue and brain fog and kind of flu-like symptoms that you can experience with something like that. I just had no idea that some of that was happening, and being able to manage it now a little bit better, I can keep some of my symptoms at bay.
I'm sure that leads to a lot of empathy for clients who are dealing with similar things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been through it.
Yeah, and imagine,
Mhm.
I mean, if food impacts not only our brain chemistry, and our gut health, our microbiome, and all of that impacts our mental health. Imagine how hard it is to manage anxiety and depression, or manage your mood, or stress response, or anything like that. If your immune system is that on fire,
Yeah.
makes it that much harder.
I'll go ahead and chime in too. I mean, in my therapy practice, I see what isn't always clear as far as the origin of people's anxiety and depression symptoms.
Mm,
And as we've touched on in the past, anxiety and depression are often two sides of the same coin. Therefore, the source of it can be very mysterious. And just like, let's say someone has an allergy and they have immediate symptoms, or I was up all night and of course I'm tired. Um, there are circumstances in life that obviously lead to symptoms of anxiety and depression. Doesn't always qualify someone for that, for a diagnosis of generalized anxiety or major depressive disorder. But at the same time, you can still experience symptoms of those things. And when they're chronic or when they're even intermittent, I have seen that as soon as, let's say, I send one of those clients, hey, you might want to check in on your nutrition and at least bounce some of these symptoms off of Kristen,
mhm,
our dietitian, and for you to then help them discover, is it possible that what you're feeling is not correlated to life circumstances? It's actually, it matches up with what you're putting into your body. There's a
mhm,
food sensitivity there.
mhm. So is that kinda how you get there with clients? Is that how you
Mhm.
approach it from the therapy room is
Yeah, when there's not really a history, when there's not life circumstances that create this, logical connection and it just doesn't make sense.
Mhm,
I'm telling you, it's wild how just like a good doctor would say, "How's your sleep? How's your diet?" If I go that extra mile, which sounds crazy that a healthcare provider is asking very basic questions and that's an extra mile,
mhm,
but to just go ahead and ask that, "Hey, even though this is out of my scope, I'm gonna go ahead and ask these questions about your sleep, your lifestyle, what you're eating." And for them to start describing, well, yeah, I have this many number of alcoholic drinks per day, not even week,
mhm.
or I am eating certain foods that in general just are not healthy or excuse me, nutritious maybe for most people. And when you start digging into some of the patterns, I'm not I'm not even a dietitian, but I can tell maybe this deserves a little bit more exploration.
Yeah, and that is really the whole point in why we offer this, is because I find that in my room, most people are not getting the time that they desire with exploring their health.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people
In
are.
totality.
Yeah.
Usually, we just get siloed on one area of our health
Mhm,
and over focus, which is kind of like a tunnel vision. Like, people are coming in for their mental health, they're gonna get tunnel visioned on their brain
Yeah.
or their circumstances.
Mhm.
People who come in for nutrition are gonna get tunnel vision on what they're eating.
Mhm.
And in reality, and I think this is a good segue to talk about the gut-brain axis.
Yeah, that they're all connected.
Yes.
That gut-brain axis is what you call, I think this
Mhm.
is your verbiage, maybe like a superhighway,
Yeah,
connecting our brain and our gut.
yeah. It's a two-way street, and I mean, when I first learned about it, I assumed it was actually one directional. I assumed what you eat affects how you think, how you feel. To me, that made sense. I was actually surprised to learn that it goes both ways
Mm.
and heavily influences our serotonin production, which is our happy chemical. So
Mhm.
if our gut is imbalanced, we're literally going to feel depressed because we have a lack of serotonin.
Yeah, if we are not, I mean, there's direct nutrients that affect serotonin or
Mhm.
neurotransmitter production,
Yeah,
right? There's omega-3 fatty acids, there's B vitamins, there's amino acids. And if we are not getting enough, or if our gut's not able to utilize these nutrients or break them down properly, which is why we do genetic testing, then we're not able to support that production, which happens inside our gut, right?
yeah, yeah. And it's almost tragic when someone is not aware of how certain foods affect their physiology because let's say you have this domino effect of symptomology where I have a client who comes in and says, "Man, I'm just having all this trouble at work and in my relationships." And I'll ask, "Well, can you describe what's going on?" And they may say, "Well, I'm just constantly tired or low energy or I have this negative mood." And we may dance around all of these symptoms, but really the root of the issue is there is a common denominator here. They don't realize that certain things that they're putting into their body sets them up to have this low energy or low mood, and that's damaging their relationships and their productivity.
Yeah. And I mean, I have to be honest and transparent. I've been a dietitian for a long time, and I've been helping people with managing their relationship with food and how to improve their food behaviors and their habits and their lifestyle. But until I really dug into testing for my own chronic symptoms from my autoimmune condition,
Mhm.
did I believe in it? I mean, yeah, I thought it was a tool. It is a tool, but I didn't know how much it was impacting me and how much I was walking around with some of these symptoms and being affected by some of these symptoms.
That
I
must have been
just,
really humbling.
yes. And now I am very passionate about helping other people with that,
Yeah,
who are struggling. And it's made such a difference. But I think that that point is I'm, I'm in the food world, and it
yeah.
still is something that
But you're
not,
not removed from
not
it.
everybody is comfortable with all the time.
It's no longer just information for you. You're living with it, you're managing
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yes. And it directly,
I would wanna work with you for that reason. Yeah.
um, yeah, I went to, I can't tell you how many dermatologist appointments, how many doctor's appointments trying to work through a skin condition that I have from an autoimmune condition, and I have been working on that for 15 years,
Mhm.
and in 48 hours, I completely,
It's wild.
changed the symptoms I was dealing with that were chronic. They've been going on for that long, and I had no idea that something I was eating could make that much of a difference, and that's not the story for everybody,
Yeah.
but if it is, it's life-changing.
I mean, it just makes me think 2 things. One, again, that unique level of empathy that you have, which who wouldn't wanna work with someone who just gets it, right?
Mhm.
And then 2, how many people out there are walking around feeling the way
Yeah.
they do, assuming that's just their normal they're stuck with, but
Mhm.
reality, they could dig a little bit deeper and realize, "Wow, if I made a little bit of adjustments,
Yeah.
I could feel totally different, have a different
I
life."
had a client the other day who said we were working on food sensitivity testing and exploring some personalized nutrition testing for some other reasons, and then they finally kind of were filling out a symptom survey for me and exploring some of their symptoms, and they were like, "It's interesting. I've been managing hives every day of my life for over 10 years."
Jeez.
I'm like, every day, taking medicine, trying to keep them at bay, like, to deal with hives, I mean, hives are miserable,
Mm.
but to get used to that, some people just end up living with it because, like, it's hard to figure out what the source
They don't know
is.
anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so at least food sensitivity testing or genetic testing, it can't solve everything, but sometimes it's the exploration that people need.
Yeah. So, can I ask you? I'm not even really that clear, which is embarrassing to admit. What is the difference between food sensitivity testing and genetic testing? I
Yeah.
know food sensitivity, you get your blood drawn.
Mhm.
Genetic testing, it's a spit kit, right?
Yeah.
Saliva.
Yeah, it's a saliva test, and
So, how do you know which one to administer?
yeah, one is focused more on, like, our immune reaction to foods, the white blood cell count, and, that delayed immune response in our body, and the other one is, what are our genes and what are the mutations that could be preventing us from digesting and absorbing the B vitamins or folate properly, or what could we be eating that isn't working for our body, and do we need a different formulation or to maybe our body doesn't burn calories as efficiently as someone else, and genetic testing can kind of show us those mutations that can tailor then our goals. Maybe we don't need the generic diet plan that everybody else follows. Maybe we need something more specific.
So, for someone like me, who's probably most people listening to this who are a lot less knowledgeable than you, how do we know which one to pursue? Like, what are some of the prompts for the average person?
Mm. It's really based on the symptoms. I think with genetic testing, food sensitivity testing or genetic testing, it can't solve everything, but sometimes it's the exploration that people need. If you feel like you've been doing everything right, if you've been working on weight or you've been working on trying to get your lab values where they need to be or something like that, and you're not having the success that really on paper you should be having, it could be something genetic, a limitation there, and we can work around that or change the amount of supplementation that you take or change your calorie or macronutrient goals a little bit to personalize it for you. But if it's a chronic symptom that is more immune related, like digestive issues or fatigue or brain fog or skin issues, something like that would point more to an immune response, and then we would do the MRT testing.
Okay, that makes sense.
I know it's a bit confusing.
Yeah, but that's why you're here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And, a quick call, a quick consultation is something we can kind of weed through some of those symptoms. There's even like food like survey, symptom survey that we do that can quickly identify where you're at, what you're struggling with, and that can help guide us forward.
So let's talk about maybe the last piece of this. If someone were to reach out and let's say I'm referring them from therapy or they are pointed to you via our website or social
Mhm.
media and they're curious about that first step. So I'm assuming they take some type of nutrition assessment.
Mhm.
That's as soon as they sign up for an appointment. And then what's the next step?
Yeah, I mean, we can do a quick discovery call. That is always no
Okay.
problem, just to help me make sure that that client is the right fit for the type of work that we can do together. I would never want someone to come and it not be a good fit. So those are very helpful in navigating their direction. But then if they are a good fit, then we do an assessment just to go through medical history, family history, lab issues, all that. And then during their first appointment is when we really would weed out what type of testing is appropriate and also what it entails. Like some people might think that they are interested in doing food sensitivity testing right now, but it's pretty in depth. I mean, you have to
Hmm.
really go through a very
Yeah,
strict
you said
elimination
176 markers, right?
diet, yeah,
Wow.
and it takes it has to be at the right timing of life. It has to be appropriate.
Oh, to make the changes, you're
Yeah,
saying. Got it.
because you have to be prepared and ready to take that on, and so part of that
So
first
not during the
appointment
holiday season.
is definitely not during the holiday season. It's pretty
That sounds
restrictive,
hard.
so you just have to be prepared for it is all.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, it sounds like when you gain awareness from some of these tools, especially around testing and incorporating elimination or making some adjustments in your lifestyle, um, it really truly applies the whole quote, good food, good mood.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
What
Wow.
we eat
Literally.
directly impacts our brain. Mhm.
A lot of people don't realize there are different types of nutrition tests to help you identify why your body automatically responds to certain types of foods. and that you actually have more control than you realize to feel better and live the life that you want to live.
And if generic nutrition knowledge is not working for you, if you've tried all of the things and are not having the success that you believe you should be having, there are personalized testing options to explore that could help you get on the right track.
So get after it. Go to anchoredmind.care and sign up today.
Explore the possibilities.
Do it now.